Writing events in place. Now, thinking about Jason Allen Paisant's poem and his example, he describes a very personal story of his connection, his relationship with this place. The place is unnamed, but we know it's a forest from the title and from some of the descriptors that we spoke about before. And so just as we can find out about places through everyday personal experiences like Jason's or mundane events that happen there, we can also on the flip side learn about places through much bigger events that happen and take place there. And lots of people will be writing about popular events if we think about popular historical events. Lots of people write about them, but I believe there's room for all of us to give a viewpoint on it, and it is important to give as much feel from your perspective as possible to make your telling of this big event really capture a part of what it was like, a part of what happened that made this event newsworthy, and also just to be able to find out from your perspective what it was like. And just a quick note on newsworthy and what is newsworthy. I would say you decide what's newsworthy. Do your research, and even things that are reported as news. Find other opinions to see where the debate on a specific topic is. It's good to know all the points of view, even if you don't put them in your writing, but it's good to know why this topic is a newsworthy topic. Let's think of a big event that was reported on in the news all over the world. Now, I won't mention what or where until after, but because of the significance of the event, most of you might recognize what it was. Now, there's a great deal of info about the specific newsworthy event, but I also want you to listen to the poem on another level. I want you to listen for the markers that tell us a bit about the environment, the culture, or the history of the place. And don't worry if you don't catch anything this time around. I mean, that's what good writing should do, really, in my opinion. It should make you want to go back to find out more. So let's just read now or listen to Hollow by Vanessa Kisule.
You came down easy in the end. The righteous wrench of two ropes in a grand plie. Briefly, you flew, corkscrewed, then met the ground with the clang of toy guns, loose change, chains, a rain of cheers, standing ovation on the platform of your neck. Punk ballet, Act 1, there is more to come. And who carved you? They took such care, with that stately pose and propped chin. Wise and virtuous, the plaque assured us. Victors wish history odorless and static, but history is a sneaky mistress, moves like smoke, Colston, like saliva in a hungry mouth. This is your rightful home, here in the pit of chaos with the rest of us. Take your twisted glory and feed it to the tadpoles. Kids will write raps to that syncopated splash. I think of you lying in the harbour with the horrors you hosted. There is no poem more succinct than that, but still you are permanent. You who perfected the ratio. Blood to sugar to money to bricks. Each bougie building we flaunt haunted by bones. Children learn and titans sing under the stubborn rust of your name. But the air is gently throbbing with newness. Can you feel it? Colston, I can't get the sound of you from my head. Countless times I passed that plinth, its heavy threat of metal and marble. But as you landed, a piece of you fell off, broke away, and inside, nothing but air. This whole time, you were hollow.
That was Hollow by Vanessa Kisule. Now, I didn't tell you what the event was, but you might now recognize that the poem is about Edward Colston's statue coming down in Bristol in the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests in the city. Now, while the poem is about an event that happens in the built environment, I think it's a great one for discussing how the elements of the setting can be interwoven into a poem about a specific event. Vanessa isn't really concerned with the setting so much as the subject of the poem. She's more about the action of this statue coming down and the empty plinth. But there are some elements that she injects into the poem that give us an idea of what the city is like. Now, I like where she talks about the bougie buildings. Now, the bougie building being these fancy buildings, but it ties back into the discussion of Colston and, where his proceeds came from, slave trade in the Caribbean. But then we see the wealth in Bristol through these bougie buildings. So the setting, even though she doesn't mention it by name. Another point that gives us some of the elements of the setting. She says that this statue belongs with the tadpoles swimming around. So again, even if you know nothing about Bristol, that one point there about the tadpoles and the swimming, it gives you the sense that there's some water body there. Yes, we know the River Avon, and that's where the statue ended up. Now, Vanessa doesn't tell us that explicitly, but because she tells us about these tadpoles and the swimming, these words, we know that there's water somewhere in this environment. Now let's go into one more writing exercise. I'm going to help you create a sensory toolkit. To do this, we're going to go and look at Vanessa's poem to see how she conjures up the setting. So you should have a grid, and with the grid, we're going to write words or phrases that Vanessa uses which match the 5 senses. Let's see if she gives us information on seeing, smelling, hearing, touching, tasting, and how this gives us information about the environment, even though the environment is not central to the telling of the action. Conclusion. You may have come to this masterclass with an idea of what you wanted to write, or you may have had no idea at all. Well, now I hope that you have some skills and some tools that you can use to get started, no matter if you were coming in fresh and brand new, or if you already knew what you wanted to write and you were just looking for a bit more confidence. I hope everyone is more confident in writing today. To get started, I would like you to create a starter toolbox here with our sensory details and our setting details. Keep referring back to your toolkits, adding, editing as you develop your writing. Here are some tips to help you write while going into the competition. Give yourself enough time to write. Give yourself time to write and draft and redraft and write again. Get 1 or 2 readers to be your editors and take their feedback and go back, write, redraft again. Now, I've given you some help on 2 genres, nature and climate writing, but you can apply these tools to all kinds of writing because you'll want to conjure up setting and senses no matter what you're writing about. You're going to want your world to speak for itself without having to be too explicit. Thank you for joining this class with me. Good luck, and I can't wait to see what you've written. Bye.